Do you ever sit down with your sketchbook, eager to create, maybe even gather some favorite supplies, but then nothing? When that happens to me, I don't try to come up with a big idea. Instead, I try something small, maybe a little strange, and very low pressure. One of the things I like about blowing through a straw is that while I can guide the ink in a certain direction, I can't really control what it will do. So I end up reacting instead of planning. And after I had my ink clusters, I thought they could represent coral, and I made a few fish to swim over them. And then I had a different spread with a portrait of an Elizabethan lady, but I kind of had those ink clusters in my mind, and I thought one of them could be a crown for this Elizabethan lady. And once I found that quote, it all kind of snapped together for me, and I ended up really liking it. This next technique is about looking around your environment with fresh eyes. You're not looking for subjects or even certain colors, but for textures, and collecting that texture with a kneadable eraser. It isn't really about the object, it's about paying attention again. So there you saw that I collected the texture from a carved wooden spice box, and now I'm collecting the texture of 42 cents. It was really fun to look around my house for objects with interesting textures. I've heard of people keeping a kneadable eraser and stamp pad in their travel bag to collect textures on vacation. This trivet made out of rolled paper gave me about my most favorite texture that I found. These barnacles didn't really work out so well, texture-wise, but it was worth a try. I found this old rusted nut in Colorado while on a treasure hunt. I collected my favorite textures here in my sketchbook. And then I flipped through my sketchbook and picked out a few spreads that looked kind of blah or unfinished. And I grabbed some coffee table texture to spice this one up a bit. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What do you do when you feel a little stale or stuck? Please share your ideas with us. And I loved adding a little texture from the paper trivet to this otherwise not quite strange enough spread. You can shape the kneadable eraser into any shape you want. I think it would be fun to make, say, a sweater shape and add texture to a character's clothing, or maybe a rhino shape to texture its hide. And the final technique I want to show you is maybe the kookiest of them all. I was doing a daily comic related to childhood games, and I remembered my beloved Spirograph. Who knows where it ended up, but I decided I would quickly try to make my own homemade version. I'll link down below the video that inspired me on how to do this with some cardboard from my recycling bin. To make what would be the teeth of the spinning discs, I removed the top layer of 2 thin strips of cardboard to expose the corrugations, and then I glued them around the circles I had cut out. Could I have just coughed up a few bucks and bought a Spirograph set? Sure. But the burst of joy I got when it kinda, sorta, wonkily worked, priceless. Sometimes making the tool is the art. I hope you got inspired to create something a little unexpected. Let me know what you thought, and if you want to see more sketchbook experiments like this, feel free to stick around. Thanks so much. Take care.